Good afternoon. Hello, hello. Well, my name is Becky Metcalfe, and on behalf of Design Centre Chelsea Harbour, a very warm welcome to Together at Twinkle Town. We're getting festive, and it's all in aid of Place to Be, the children's mental health charity. So thank you so much for coming along today. Well, we've got a bit of a treat in store for us, but first some housekeeping. If I could ask everybody just to turn their phones off, that would be great. There we are.
On cue.
Yeah. We have got a real star of interior design with us today, Joanna Wood. You also might know her through Lewis & Wood, who have a showroom here in Design Centre East. And who better to talk to her than Samantha Jeffries, the editor of the English Home. We fight over the issues in our office, and the January issue is particularly festive, actually. So, and I think it's still on the newsstands as well. I think we should give Joanna and Samantha a very, very warm, festive welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you so much for coming along today, and a very warm welcome from us too. As Becky said, I'm Samantha, I'm the editor of the English Home magazine, and I'm really delighted to see you all here today for our Deck the Halls workshop with the lovely, wonderful Joanna Wood. So really, Deck the Halls, we wanted to put on a workshop for you which explores preparing and decorating interiors in classic English style for Christmas. And Joanna, as many of you probably already know, is one of Britain's leading figures in the world of international interior design. With over 25 years' experience, Joanna is renowned for her classic English style that combines traditional and contemporary elements to produce practical and visually exciting schemes. I think it's fair to say, Joanna, don't you?
Somebody's been nice.
I know. So, as well as all of that, Joanna is also someone who creates really magical Christmases at home, which we know she does each year because we photographed her wonderful country home for the English Home last year and featured it in the magazine. So who better really to guide us through beautiful and brilliant ideas for preparing for the festivities, from decorating the tree to tablescaping and wrapping gifts. Joanna's going to give us lots of tips and inspiration, and she's promised me a few cheats as well, which I'll certainly be trying out myself at home. So I'm going to hand over to Joanna in a moment, but also just to let you know too that there will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the workshop. So do feel free at the end. I might just need to come over, because we can't use a microphone with you all at the moment. I just might need to sort of come, so if you're comfortable with me coming over, put your hand up at the end and I'll relay to Joanna. We'll do it like that. But yes, without further ado, I'll hand over to Joanna.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Joanna Wood, and I've been an interior designer for more years than I care to remember or count. And for many years, I had a shop on the Pimlico Road, and we moved recently, same shop, bigger shop, to Elizabeth Street, which has always given me the opportunity to shop till I drop and to get advanced knowledge of what's new and what's coming up, particularly when it comes to Christmas. And I think I have to confess that I'm a bit of a Christmasaholic. My family will attest to the fact that Christmas never passes by without Christmas decorations, old friends, new things, new ideas, experimentation or whatever. So Samantha rang and said, right, we'd like you to give a talk at Chelsea Harbour, about 45 minutes. And I thought, oh my goodness, how am I going to talk about baubles and Christmas decorations and lights for 45 minutes? And we then started going back into what photographs we had, and I realised that actually I can talk for 4 hours, so be prepared, you lot. So I've just taken off my watch and put it there, which of course I can't really see. So if I bang on and you start walking out, I will completely understand. But we've got a sort of few ideas to show you, and then obviously questions at the end. And really kind of what it's all about, what I think Christmas is all about, particularly now, is about friends, family, festivities, making people feel welcome, and having some really fun ideas that don't cost a fortune. I mean, we can all go to Selfridge's Christmas department and drop a couple of grand easily, but it's about having little quirky ideas that cost you absolutely nothing, that you kind of gather in the garden, or ivy leaves that you nick from Battersea Park or something like that, that just give things a sort of twist and another look. So what I thought we'd do is that I would sort of do a bit of a slideshow, because it's much easier to see, really, and to walk you sort of through the house, really starting with the front door. And I'm a great wreath person. I think the Europeans wreath everything, and I think I'm coming around to it. I like autumn and spring and every sort of wreath imaginable. But I also find that, you can go to ground florists and spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but actually with a bit of imagination, you can do it yourself. And the best way to do it is to buy a bit of a ring from the florists. And then this one we made up with twigs. I'm a great twig person. Either, if you really want to be energetic, spray them yourself, or Covent Garden, the new Covent Garden market sell great armfuls for nothing, like 15 quid for a huge bunch. And what this has done is we've literally just created that by putting it into a fir wreath that cost a couple of quid. And the leaves are magnolia leaves, which I've sprayed gold. So there's a close-up of it, so you can see. So that is absolutely homemade and did not cost very much. Going through into the hall of our London home. This is another wreath that we did for a client of ours. And it's got seasonal flowers and fruits and eucalyptus, which is a very good thing to use for Christmas. And it just, homemade like that, it just has a bit more kind of glamour to it. It's not synthetic. It'll recycle at the end of Christmas, and it's just, you won't see it on the next door neighbour's door either. It's just a wee bit different. And then you open the door and in you go to the hall. And I'm a great believer in having something in the hall that says welcome. I mean, what we've done here is we've done flowers in the hall that match what's on the door. I have to confess that when I started doing this, I found that we'd got so much stuff, because quite luckily we get asked to go back and decorate people's houses. So these photographs, except for one room, they're all things that we have done, either for family and friends or indeed for clients. So we do go and professionally decorate for people from time to time, which we always love, and it takes forever, and everybody gets very enthused and engaged. This is our hall at home, which is the shoot that we did for the English home, which was great fun. And our house has never looked so good at Christmas. Every nook, every cranny had something in it. And so this is our hall, which we did the swags up the staircase. And a couple of little things I just want to point out as little tricks is, I don't know about anybody else, and it probably is me, but I adore a Christmas globe. And you'll find that every time somebody walks in, they come in, they can't resist picking it up. It sings, all I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth or something, and snows on everything. And I'm a great believer in putting greenery everywhere. I'm lucky I've got a lovely garden, and mostly we have berries or ivy or fir or something, and that you can just put a little sprig with a little ribbon or a little, twine around it, and it just decorates. And again, seasonal flowers. And of course, the one thing about Christmas is you can never, ever have too many candles. So, we've got about 3 candles burning there. Actually, I think they took some off because there were so many. So this is another staircase that we've done. This is a little bit different from a traditional swag, just thinking outside the block for a moment. You don't have to have the swag going up the banister. What we've done here is we've done blocks, which is, gives a lot of drama, extra colour. Now that is all fresh, or again, my favourite, get out the spray paint and spray greenery, spray leaves. It's a very good way of creating drama. So I've got my twigs in there, and lots of ivy that's been picked and gone in. So it's huge drama that's just taken a bit of time and a bit of trouble. And it's actually what it is it's been put into Oasis, which holds up pretty well. There is a traditional swag. This is a house that we decorated for somebody. Literally, we did it last year, and then we redid it the other day. It's a house that we've just finished. Believe it or not, it's in London. It's the most beautiful house, 1680. And again, what I've done here is put baubles into the swag, which adds a bit of drama. The one thing that everybody must go out and buy immediately is florist's wire, which is that thin little wire, and if you don't have it, you're not going to be able to make anything ever. You must always have it. It must be in your toolkit at all times. And it's bendy and it's thin and it's about that long, comes in various lengths, and it's absolutely indispensable. We've done a bit of drama in there, and again, what I've done is we've done the whole arrangement to match with baubles in it. And that will last from, it went in last week, and it will go all the way through until probably she rings me on about the 12th of January and goes, all right, you can come down now because the kid's going back to school. 12th night and the devil seems to have got lost in that house.
And Joanna, if it's indoors, do you recommend that we spray it to keep it a bit fresh if you've got the heating on? Or you don't, you just leave it?
I absolutely don't. The only thing I do is always put your tree in water, and my advice is to buy the Canadian blue spruce, non-drop. Otherwise, you've got the Hoover out at all times. But no, you start spraying that, you'll have my What's wallpaper running.
Yes,
I
we
can't
don't
do
want
that.
that.
Hand
That'd be
block,
awful. Absolutely. Well, the other thing is, what are your thoughts on, do you always use fresh for your garlands, or do you like mixing in faux?
On cue. I could have asked you to say
marvellous.
that. That is showing a fake garland because they're pre-made. They cost very little to buy the basic thing. And that is a fake garland. I think making your own fur base is absolutely lovely, but oh my goodness, it is a labour of love, and it does take forever. So what we normally do is we put a fur base in, and then we build in fresh off it, so you can kid really most of the people most of the time. That is actually showing a fake, and again, it's showing how, the twigs, you break them down smaller, and they just go in, they get stuck onto the garland with the wire, and it really works perfectly. And then a few bits and bobs. We've put Christmas lights into that one. I've got to think about lights. You can have lights in any colour as long as they're white. I'm not, and anything that flashes, makes me anxious, and especially the ones that sort of flash intermittently. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of quite sure it's not good for one's inner brain or karma or something. Having said that, multicolour lights absolutely are a no-no and simply ghastly. I'm not sure they are, because if you want to go kitsch and you decide you want to match your baubles to your multicoloured lights, I mean, my daughter said, no, they can be really cool, and they kind of can, which is sort of a bit like the famous David Hicks story of, what used to be considered really naff was ducks flying up a wall, and they were legendarily considered awful. And I will never forget, I was really lucky. David Hicks was really sweet to me when I was about 12, a squib. And I remember him saying, there's nothing wrong with ducks flying up a wall, as long as you have 50 of them and they're only pure black and pure white. And of course, if you think about it, they're a kind of art form rather than naff ducks flying up a wall. And I guess I feel the same way about lights. I do disapprove of those, I have to say, except it's in a corridor. If that was in my drawing room, it would drive me crackers. I just sort of couldn't deal with it. But white is important, and LED lights are now available in warm white. They used to make you look as if you were going in for an operation, but they are now available, in different tones. So be careful and ask when you buy. You don't, have to put up with second best. So this is your shoot, lovely shoot, traditional Christmas tree, and we've definitely gone for the, more is more with this one. At home, we have suitcases, I'm not kidding, full of Christmas decorations, piled up. And I sort of very slightly theme each year. Very slightly. I mean, it's not a bung everything at it. So this was obviously an English country house Christmas. And there's things that get left off and things that get put on, or we colour code a little bit differently. We have a few favourites that we've had since everybody was children, and they definitely get hidden around the back. And we also have a children's tree, because there's some things that aren't quite front of house. But there's my warm white lights, and I think we had a close-up. What can I show you? I think we had a close-up coming later. We have I love collecting. What I do is I add a few bits every year to my own collection. So I will go out and buy 8 of something, or even if it's 6 of something or a dozen of something, just so that I can slightly move it along, or I'll add to some, I'll decide I haven't got enough gold, or I'll decide that I'm going to theme. And this was definitely going to be a red and gold tree, obviously, and that's what we ended up with. And it looked really, I thought, very pretty. So talking about theme trees, we've done lots of things in our time. This was a theme tree for somebody which was whites and almonds, and very girly and very pretty indeed. And I do love these little birds that we put in. We also put black in. So we hunted high and low. We discussed the theme with her. She was very engaged, very involved with it. And so this is black and white, basically, black and silver and white. And I think it's really sort of ethereal, really pretty. And it shows that you can theme a tree. You can actually get it to sort of say a story.
And I love that idea, Joanna. You're saying, you can have your suitcases of decorations, but you don't have to use everything every year. You can edit it and then add a little bit. Yeah. And may I ask what this year's theme might be?
I'm going to do it this weekend, so I'll ring you on Monday and tell you.
Yeah.
But
I'll ring you all after.
I think it might be gold and silver, actually.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So this is a tree that we did, which is a very traditional-looking tree, I guess, as well. Lots of lovely baubles. I mean, I love these Fabergé ones, and then I like mixing in the odd kind of contemporary one, like that tree. And I'm a great believer in ribbon. It's the most cheap and easiest way to fill up a Christmas tree is to buy a couple of rolls of ribbon. It's a very good way of adding colour if you specifically want to go silver. I mean, if I want to add silver to my tree, I will probably go and buy 3 rolls of different silver ribbons, which now make your life very easy because they're wired. A little bit of florist wire, and off you go, and you're absolutely fine. Now, what most people don't realise is it's very important to put baubles and decorations on the tops of the branches. There's no point in having 350 baubles and just hanging them off the branches. What really, really creates an effect is putting bits on the top of the branches. So I think we'll have some more details coming along, but what we've done here, for example, is wired baubles together and made sure that they've gone on the tops of the branches rather than just hanging from their string underneath. There's been an awful lot of discussion about Christmas trees and about whether we should all be having fake Christmas trees now because of real Christmas trees. Is it user-friendly? Are we, exhausting the planet, etc.? And I think at the end of the day, that it's been decided that actually it's very regenerative for everybody to keep planting Christmas trees. And if we didn't use Christmas trees, there would be millions and millions and millions of trees that weren't planted and, taking stuff, cleaning up our air. So if you think about it, if we didn't have any fresh Christmas trees, there would be none of the, 3 million or something that are planted every year? Something utterly massive. And the fact of the matter is that a Christmas tree this size or this size or this size all absorbs CO2. So it's been decided that the fresh ones are good for the planet rather than the fake. So you don't need to worry about that. Just thought you might like to know. This is another Christmas tree that we did. This was colour-coded to be very strong contemporary colours. And so it's purple and orange and gold and shocking pink and electric blue. And one of the ways we got there was that we bought acetate paper. Do you know what I mean? That kind of crispy clear paper. And we made bows and little like bow ties out of it and put them on. And I think I've got a detail here, which gave it a really funky, kind of more edgy look to it. And it was really fun and really a little bit different. And then we found some multicolour jewel, just a few. You just need a sprinkling, half a dozen, and suddenly you've got a completely different look, which I think is quite fun.
And when you're working with that many colours, Joanna, do you have advice on how we could think about pacing that across the tree? Because, you know, obviously there's an art to that so that it doesn't look a complete kind of, you know, messy rainbow.
The trick is to put one of the kind all on. So if you've got 50 gold baubles followed by 50 silver, do all 50 gold, stand back, take a look, and then do all 50 silver. Do you see what I mean? And then leave those last little bits until the end so that it's kind of evenly spread.
Thank you.
If your Christmas tree's uneven too, I mean, I have been known to cut bits off the back and then wire them on the front. I mean, you know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to mess with nature. You know, that's why all these trees look marvellous and full, because they have been played around. Now, there is an example of putting decorations on the top of the branch. Because the fact of the matter is, however much you fill up the water thing underneath, after, I'm afraid we like to max out on ours. So ours will go up this weekend, and it won't come down until the 12th day of Christmas or whatever it is. They do drop, they do droop. So that is why when the decorations on the tops of the tree come into force. And the other thing is that you're much better to decorate more at the top and the middle than the bottom, because when the branches drop, you'll have lost. So don't put your favourite things right round the bottom, because you'll have lost them. So what we've done here is we've got these little twiggy nut things that we've wrapped round some ribbon. This is sort of paper ribbon, and wired to the top of the branch so that it looks more effective. This one's gone for some big ticket items. That's a very expensive tree, actually, as it happens. I like infilling trees, again with these twigs. It just gives you a bit more oomph. A couple of other tricks, especially if you're on a budget. Do you know what I mean by gypsophila, which is those tiny white little flowers? One of the prettiest trees I ever did was with gypsophila, and you just literally push the gypsophila into the branches. And, you know, one bunch will fill the whole tree, and you can actually now buy it dyed. So you can have red gypsophila or pink gypsophila. Never done a pink tree, actually. I might have to do that. Okay, so I'm talking too much. So moving on to tables. This is the English home. This is our table at home in Gloucestershire. So very traditional, and just showing that I like mantelpieces, lots of glass, lots of candles, and I hope I've got a detail. Yeah, I have. I'm a great cracker person. I think they're really fun. You can fill your own crackers. Otherwise, I always think the only thing I really care about is the joke, and the worse the better. I mean, you can go to sort of Aspreys and Smithsons and get wonderful crackers, of course, but it doesn't really matter if they come from Tesco's and cost £5. I think they're absolutely terrific. A girlfriend of mine always refills her crackers every year and puts her own little kind of baubles and things in. I'm afraid I haven't got the energy to do that. That's the one thing I don't really do. So I think you'll find mine are Waitrose, but I keep an eye out. And I've got mine from Tesco's this year, and they're covered in holly, and they're gorgeous. Lots of tea lights, lots of things. I mean, another trick that I so often play, so easy way to decorate your table, that is gold sugared almonds. Which is a really fun thing to do. You can buy them on the web. The best gold ones with bitter chocolate on the inside that you really can eat come from Fortnum and Mason, one of my favourite shops for Christmas. But you can kind of get them anywhere. When I had a multicolour Christmas, I put Smarties all over the table. There was just one tiny problem, that all the Smarties had been eaten by the time we started lunch, so that wasn't so clever. But, I mean, that's a fun thing to do. I mean, or sweets, or I've actually got a bag full of little gold stars that I put out sometimes, or all of them. Why not? You know, more is more. But it's quite fun to fill the table, you know. There's no spaces on ours. That's another very glossy table that we did. I mean, again, you know, sweets and bowls. I mean, those are Marks and Spencer toffees, but they look fabulous in a little red bowl. And what we've done here, just as a setting, is I've taken artichokes and I've sprayed them gold.
Yeah, amazing.
Again, the easiest table centre. I haven't got a picture here, I was just realising last night. But sprayed apples or sprayed pears, gold or silver or mixed, just in the middle of a table, or just as a pile, you know, and it takes no time at all. And suddenly you've got a wonderful festive table centre, you know, for £2 of apples. and that will last a long time. And I see no reason why you shouldn't have gold apples on your table until it's Easter, really, can you?
Absolutely.
Amaryllis is, of course, a wonderful Christmas flower, and I think they're absolutely beautiful. They last quite a long time. What we've done here is mixed antique red glass in, which, of course, is absolutely beautiful, collected piece by piece. And there's quite a lot of good fakes out there, too. Coloured glass is a way of making your table look fantastic, quite like Harlequin sets too, so you can multicolour it. This is obviously absolutely structured. The scheme here is red and gold. There's also got a runner down the middle of the table, which literally we've made out of an offcut. So this is a red runner to add a bit of festivity. It doesn't need to be expensive. It could be paper. In fact, I have used wrapping paper down the middle of a table.
Yeah.
I mean, literally silver or gold. And then it reflects. What else can I tell you? I quite like place card holders. I think it's quite a fun festive. Adds another way of adding a bit of colour. One of the tricks that we've always got that comes out of the suitcases is we have gold writing pens and we have silver writing pens, and quite often I will write people's names on evergreen leaves. So actually, big enough ivy leaves with names on is the cheapest, most. And everybody goes, "Oh, aren't you clever?" You know, it's all about tricks, this, isn't it? These leaves have had names on them in the past. That is napkin rings. Now, if you're not doing crackers, another way of decorating a table, it doesn't really matter even if it's a paper napkin, is you put a bow around it, or, that is actually a proper napkin ring, but it's really fun, the diamond ones. And again, this is showing mixing in different heights and different sizes of tea lights. You can never have too many tea lights. And what we've done here for a quick, cheap effect is I've used baubles on the table, which looks really fun. You just need to remember to cut the strings off so that it looks that you really mean that there's table decoration. We've actually got glass bells, which I haven't actually got a picture of, which I bought as a decoration, and they look absolutely cute. We literally cut the ribbons off, and then replaced it with a bit of tartan ribbon, or I can change it, and we use that to ring the changes on the table at home. This is a more knit-your-own yogurt kind of supper table. So this has got, more knockback candles, and we've just used little bits of greenery, ivy and fir with plain fruit. We've got pears and apples in there, as you can see, and we've used bouquet garni. So that's not some strange drug. It's actually little rolls of bouquet garni, as in the herbs that are going on there. So that's a much more rustic approach. It's a pine table, and again, I think it looks very pretty. And that's a ribbon round a napkin. It's all very dressy. So this is again a very glamorous, very themed table. So all the whites and the silvers is so pretty, isn't it? It's really lovely. So everything of colours come off the table, white china. And we've used here to tie up the napkins. That's a Christmas bauble. I mean, it costs absolutely nothing. It's as plastic as can be, but you stick a little bit of ivy through it and it looks really festive and really pretty. Just takes no time at all and just gives it a really kind of Christmassy feel. Lovely flowers there, more white amaryllis. And, of course, tea lights. Tea lights look wonderful with silver and white, actually. It gives that sort of very... if you add the silver, I hope it doesn't look too wedding. It says Christmas to me, not wedding. It could be either, I suppose.
And Joanna, when you're sort of thinking about each place setting, when you're designing that, do you come up with one and then duplicate it, or do you start with sort of the base layers and then build them up as you go around each place?
I probably more or less know what we're going to do before we start.
Yeah.
And we've probably done one. And then, to be honest, somebody else rolls it out.
I wondered, in terms of us doing something like that
And the
at
girls
home,
from the
that's
shop
good
or whatever
advice.
go.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing to do is if you set up one and you like it, then you're probably going to love it if it's times 6, 8, 10, 12, however many you are.
Exactly.
So this is I think this is the only one that isn't my home. This is the home of a great friend of mine called Willie Yerwood, who very sadly had cancer and passed away, but he's a great, great mate. And this is his Christmas table, and he was the master of entertaining. He loved giving parties, apart from anything else. So there's always a lot of them, and I think his dining room looked absolutely gorgeous. And he's kind of relying on that whole long flower arrangement all the way down the middle of the table, which is absolutely lovely. And here's a close-up of what he's done with each plasmon. And I really love the way he's done a plain white tablecloth with just the plain red ribbons, and he's just stapled them round the back, to be honest. And then he's got these lovely felt Christmas puddings with a button on them. So, and I do not believe Willie actually sewed all those himself, but I guess one could. He's gone round and bought them and cut the strings off too, hasn't he? But I mean, it's just really cute and really effective. And that's the sort of thing that goes back in the suitcase, and I might not bring it out for 3 or 4 years, and then it'll come back out and be used, and everybody go, oh, isn't that clever, all over again. So, of course, every Christmas table needs a knitted polar bear. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And Willie's got something like 60 of them. I mean, can you believe it? Kind of knitting things is obviously the way to go. I just had to show you those. I thought they were so
cute.
Heavenly.
And before we leave the table, sorry, can I just ask one more thing? When we were talking about flowers, do you adhere to that rule that you shouldn't have them too high so people can talk, or do you think just go for the drama? Any advice on flowers?
I absolutely can't bear it if I'm sitting opposite somebody. It's probably because I'm a chatty person and I can't see them. So, either different heights or above. There's lots of glasses. So, the white table, the arrangement was above. It's a good point, good question. And this one is just low enough for you to be able to talk over the top of it. Absolutely. But if it was, 30 centimetres higher, you'd kind of have one side of the table versus the other side of the table. I think that's a very good point. But I don't think it matters whether you've got lots of little bits or a continuous line. But, height is important. So now we're going to look at mantelpieces, which I think is a very important part of everyone's decorations. And this is the mantelpiece for the English home shoot, which is very, very natural. So coming in a bit closer, what we've done here is use natural greenery. And again, what we've cheated it is with these lovely gold decorations. What we've done is we've taken the faux flowers that you buy and we've chopped them up. So, you buy one spray for £8 or £10 or whatever it is. But if you chop the leaves into 1s and 2s, suddenly that £8 has gone a dozen different ways and looks really good value. We've used mistletoe here too, which most people think needs to be used in a bunch to kiss under, but no, I like getting it out there. So we've used that there, and I don't know if we've got a close-up. Yeah, there's a close-up of the clock. And then, a few chunky fakes, just add a bit of something into it, but as you can see, it's fir, mistletoe, and the close-up of the gold leaves there, which we've chopped down, that look really good. There's a lot of blue tack under that, and make sure that the base is taped in firmly. This is the study in my home, and this has actually got a fake swag on it. So the first one was natural, and this is fake, and they both work really well. This has got a much more rusticy feel, which has been created by adding red leaves into it. And again, one of my favourite things that I do all the time is fir cones, bit of gold spray on them, and then you wire them in together, the famous florist wire, and you hang them in bunches of 2s or 3s. There's 3 up there, and they look absolutely fabulous. Those apples are actually fake, and what's cute about this is I put in those little brushed animals in here, so this has got a much more relaxed feel than in our main drawing room. This is a more sort of elegant, quiet mantelpiece, but again, lots of lovely candles to light. We've always got candles to light on mantelpieces. I think it gives such a lovely glow. And this is going back to using eucalyptus. And I was literally being told a story about somebody whose eucalyptus lasted from 1 year to another because it dried. But I mean, I love the smell of eucalyptus, so you lose the smell after a bit. And again, another trick that we use all the time is buying the fake oranges. And I use them on trees too, if you want to go for a very rustic knockback tree with more fruits and more brushed animals and things. And you can wire them in 2s and 3s. They're very good for putting on the tops of branches. That's a close-up of that. It's pretty, isn't it? The
It's
silver
really pretty.
and the white marble mantelpiece helps. This is a mantelpiece in my home where literally we've gone out to the garden and pulled the ivy off the walls and literally just taped it in a very relaxed way, and it just looked really pretty. If you really want to spend a bit of time, this is oasis pots covered in moss, twig, and we must have been really showing off with this one because this is individual ivy leaves that have been sprayed gold and put into an oasis tree. I mean, you know, it costs nothing except your time. This is my daughter Harriet's bedroom, which has never looked so neat and tidy. So this is pink for Christmas, isn't it? So it's got the matching cyclamen. And I've put this in to remind you not to hang up. You've got to hang up your stockings, don't forget, otherwise Father Christmas won't come. And ideas for wrapping. And one of the things that we've got to stop doing is buying hugely expensive wrapping paper covered with bits and bobs and glitter. Glitter, I'm understanding, is not good, not biodegradable, being found in, you know, whales' tummies 20 years down the line in the Pacific. We've got to kind of slightly nix the glitter. So I've just produced just a few ideas for wrapping paper for you guys, which is sort of a good cheap trick. So this is brown paper. I like it on the reverse because it's got a little stripe. I've also used it to hang on walls, by the way.
Have you really?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. And string. And making your own tags. And then you just add a couple of, you know, bunches of fake leaves, and they'll be on the tree next year. I'm inclined, I might be an interior designer when I grow up, but I'm inclined to decide on 2 or 3 ways I'm going to wrap things, and then I do it. Because it then makes the under the tree look nice until other people add to it, of course. Yeah. So that I kind of go, right, I'm going to do brown paper and string. This is going to be one of my themes for the year. I'm going to show you something in a minute. And then I'll probably mix it in. And what I'm trying to do is not do the ribbon and the paper bought from a shop, but one or other I'm recycling or rethinking. So this is my brown paper and string. This is a drying up cloth. So everybody's getting a present in a drying up cloth so that it's going to be used. So it'll be, you know, you get your present and it's wrapped in a drying up cloth and off we go.
Good hint for the Christmas washing up, I think. Yeah.
Well, mine gets so manky. I mean, you can always do with a new drying up cloth, can't you? And, you know, done with raffia. Great believer in raffia, available in all sorts of colours now, and you can beef it up. You can do 16 and a go. It's a florist trick that so many people do. And then, you know, these little robins will be used on a tree somewhere soon near you. That's the newspaper. Newspaper as wrapping is always a good trick. You know, you just want to make sure that you haven't got the sort of Maxwell sex scandal or something on the outside. Try and use something suitably decorative and festive. So then we've bought ribbon on that, and it looks terrific. And then, of course, this is a very important wrapping. You know, good things come in small parcels, and that is I think it might be the English Home magazine.
I didn't put her up to it, I promise.
No, she didn't. With a bit of tartan ribbon. So that's what we use there. Oh. And there you go, to finish off, that is what my shop looks like this year. So we've gone pretty full on. So thank you very much for listening to that.
Yeah.
Joanna, you weren't kidding when you said you love Christmas. I really want to get into those festive suitcases. Goodness me, front doors, staircases, tables, mantelpieces. The most glamorous Christmas dues you've ever seen in your life. So many creative, inventive, glorious ideas, and so many tips. Who knew about wiring baubles onto the branches of trees or spraying artichokes to put them in your centre of your table? And what about those lovely brown paper parcels tied up in string? There's a song somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Goodness me,
It's a Julie Andrews moment,
It's a
isn't it?
Julie Andrews moment. It
Girls
really.
in white dresses with blue satin sashes.
Well, if this
Oh,
afternoon
lovely.
hasn't put us in a festive spirit, I don't know what has. And thank you so much, Joanna, for sharing it all with us. And thank you, English Home, for hosting such just a lovely, joyful session. And Samantha, it's been lovely that you've been here talking so beautifully to Joanna too. Let's give them a really big clap.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samantha.